The United States has built a new system to crack down on illegal fishing by the CCP. Chinese official media reveals that Chinese universities force students to sign fake employment contracts. Vietnam responds to CCP's suspicion of building islands and airstrips in Xisha. Controversy erupts as former Alibaba CFO claims Chinese authorities investigating citizens' financials and assets. Former Beijing lawyer. Under CCP rule, lawyers survive in the cracks. China's epidemic heats up and death toll increases. New variants emerge endlessly. CCP rushes to dump us dollars, struggles to stem depreciation of Chinese yuan. All will be covered today in China Undercover. If you find our information helpful, please subscribe and turn on the notification. It will help us get more motivation to produce more quality videos. Now, back to the news.
The United States has built a new system to crack down on illegal fishing by the CCP and clues meteorize Dr. Fane's 1,056-17-7-2-56, an automatic identification responder from a Chinese distant water fishing fleet, has indicated operations outside Oman's exclusive economic zone as exclusive economic zones, but U.S. commercial satellites suggest illegal fishing within Oman's seas, as revealed by The Economist. This incident illustrates the U.S. and its allies' use of new tools, such as space-based monitoring systems, to track China's illegal maritime activities under the Indo-Pacific Maritime Domain Awareness (epidemic) initiative. Quad-member countries to the U.S., Australia, India, and Japan contract private U.S. satellite firms to provide near-real-time data for coastal monitoring. It's a move to defend the free and open Indo-Pacific region from China's coercion, although it faces Chinese criticism and has broader military applications, according to some experts. One of the contractors, Hawkeye 360, has identified Chinese vessels engaged in suspected illegal fishing. Other technologies like AI are also being utilized for quick analysis and monitoring. The U.S. has already provided epidemic data to various governments, and its applications include countering deceptive data from Chinese vessels and enhancing military operations. China's increased maritime claims in the South China Sea and new laws obstructing foreign intelligence collection have led to difficulties in tracking its vessels. However, agreements such as one with Hawkeye 360 by the Australian government aim to aid regional monitoring and increase diplomatic and military support in Pacific Island nations. The Biden administration imposed significant financial sanctions on two large Chinese fishing companies in December 2022, focusing attention on China's illegal distant water fishing, which is threatening fish populations and involving serious human rights abuses like forced labor. China's distant water fishing fleet is now the world's largest, engaging in IUU fishing, defined by the Yuan as illegal activities violating local and international laws. China's IUU fishing is seen as an increasing priority for the U.S. and its allies, as it is linked to a range of issues from economic exploitation to environmental degradation and human rights violations. Chinese official media reveals that Chinese universities force students to sign fake employment contracts. Students in China are sometimes forced to accept fake jobs and sign false employment contracts just to get their diplomas. An article in the French newspaper International Herald Tribune talks about this issue, saying that some Chinese universities make students accept fake jobs to meet their employment targets. Several students spoke to Chinese media outlet Sixth Tone about this situation. A student from Hunan University of Finance and Economics revealed that her school fabricated an employment contract in her name and then uploaded it to the National Graduate Employment Service platform. However, she managed to successfully cancel the contract. Yet, she worries that the traces of the fake agreement she signed, which was meant for civil servant employment, might affect her future job prospects. Students from other schools described situations where the school management used high-pressure tactics to make them sign. Some universities even threatened to withhold their diplomas if they refused. According to official Chinese data, a record-breaking 11.6 million graduates will enter the job market this year, an increase of 820,000 from the previous year. The report mentions that the Chinese State Council has introduced a series of measures to help graduates find jobs, including at least 1 million internship opportunities. However, due to soaring youth unemployment rates, the practice of falsifying employment data has become more common in higher education institutions this year. This has prompted authorities to take more targeted actions to combat this practice of inflating job placement numbers. Nevertheless, given the close connection between graduate employment rates and universities, performance evaluations and reputations, authorities find it challenging to completely eliminate this behavior. Since 2011, the Ministry of Education has required that majors with consecutive two-year employment rates below 60% have their enrollment quotas reduced or even cancelled. Researchers have suggested that the government should grant universities more autonomy in managing their affairs. On social media, it's easy to find posts explaining how to obtain fake employment certificates. The demand for such certificates has led to the emergence of a black market, with sellers on e-commerce platforms like Taobao offering fake certificates for around 100 yuan, approximately $14. Vietnam responds to CCP's suspicion of building islands and airstrips in Xisha, Chinese Communist Party. CCP is suspected of building an airport on Mischief Reef in the Spratly Islands. On Thursday 17th, the Vietnamese Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that all activities carried out in the Spratlys without Vietnam's permission violate Vietnamese sovereignty and undermine peace and stability in the South China Sea. According to analysis by the Associated Press of satellite images from Planet Labs, BBC, it appears that the CCP is constructing an airport on a disputed island in the South China Sea. Both Vietnam and Taiwan also claim sovereignty over this island. The AP report stated that the construction on Mischief Reef in the Spratlys is similar to the development of 7 artificial islands in the eastern Spratlys. These islands have runways, docks, and military systems, although the scale seems smaller at the moment. The CCP claims sovereignty over almost the entire South China Sea, rejecting other countries' claims and disregarding international rulings that deem their claims invalid. Satellite images analyzed by the AP show that construction of the runway became visible in early August. The planned runway length will exceed 600 meters, 2,000 feet, sufficient for turboprop planes and drones, but not for fighter jets or bombers. The images also reveal numerous roads across most of the island and materials that seem to be containers and construction equipment. However, the report notes that China has the capability to further expand Mischief Reef, including extensive land reclamation. In response, Vietnamese Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Pham Thu Hang stated on Thursday that Vietnam is verifying the related information. Hang mentioned that Vietnam's consistent stance is that any activities in the Spratlys without Vietnam's permission infringe upon Vietnamese sovereignty over the islands. Such actions complicate the situation and harm peace, stability, order, security, aviation, and navigation safety and freedom in the South China Sea. The AP noted that the United States does not take a position on territorial claims in the South China Sea, but regularly conducts freedom of navigation operations by sending naval vessels near islands controlled by the CCP. It's estimated that trade worth up to $5 trillion passes through this waterway annually. Controversy erupts as former Alibaba CFO claims Chinese authorities investigating citizens' financials and assets. A circulated video shows that Song Xiaoqing, former chief financial officer of Alibaba China, said, starting from August, the country Communist Party has begun to investigate everyone's background. This news has sparked discussions among netizens. According to the circulated video, Song Xiaoqing, the former chief financial officer of Alibaba China, said, starting from August, the country unremintaste upon to investigate everyone's background. A system has also been officially introduced called the Personal Income and Property Information Registration System. The only ID device number is our individual ID card number. Once entered into this system, how many properties, cars, and assets you have will be clear at a glance. What is the purpose of this system? To investigate people's backgrounds. It's about high net worth individuals, high income individuals. Assets above 2 million are subject to regulation thresholds, and for those with assets above 6 million, they are clearly the primary focus of National Communist Party supervision. One video blogger from Guangzhou said, "The Communist Party is up to something again. Everyone should be careful. They're going to investigate everyone's backgrounds." Citizens, on the other hand, hold varying opinions. One comment that received 11,000 likes reads, "The Communist Party is cutting the middle class. They won't touch the wealthy. For the low income, it's just a small inconvenience." Another netizen said, "Why don't they start by investigating within the system itself? Being strict with others while being lenient with themselves is not a sustainable approach. Nobody's a fool." After seeing this, I thought I was living in a time before openness. This is outrageous. So houses will be hard to sell now. One netizen commented, "It seems like the wait time for a face-to-face appointment at the Guangzhou consulate is already scheduled for February or March next year." Another one remarked, "Why is it that those with a bit of wealth have already left? Having wealth outside means lying down to win. But having wealth at home is lying down and getting caught. I feel sorry for myself for not having wealth. Otherwise, I would have left earlier." Former Beijing lawyer. Under the CCP rule, lawyers survive in the cracks. Under the rule of the Chinese Communist Party (CP), being a lawyer has become increasingly difficult. Former Beijing lawyer Liang Xiaohui, whose license was revoked for defending the rights of the vulnerable, stated that lawyers in China can only survive in a tough environment. Liang Xiaohui, an ex-mainland lawyer from Beijing, noted that the legal profession clashes completely with the CCPA regime and is unlike the more respected legal environments in Western countries. To original Beijing lawyer Liang Xiaohuiers are surviving in a tight spot. Their status is far below that of the police, prosecutors, and judges. Although the bar exam has the highest requirements in terms of education and qualifications, its status is much lower than those institutions. Why? Because it's not within the system. It's not favored by the government. Just look at China's news. They've always been smearing lawyers. Anything the Communist Party smears is something they don't like. He mentioned that lawyers are afraid to speak up during meetings, as their licenses could be revoked if they aren't careful. Liang Xiaohui, under a dictatorship, lawyers may become less relevant over time, but the system still needs them to do some superficial things. The law is there, including China's constitution, which looks great on paper. I joked with my colleagues that the constitution is well written. Just go to Tiananmen Square and recite a couple of lines from it and you'll be arrested. It's all about saying one thing and doing another. He revealed that lawyers have to spend half a day each week participating in political study, copying the Communist Party's charter, and learning to praise the party's greatness and righteousness. He said that under CCP rule, China's judicial environment will continue to deteriorate, making it hard for the legal profession to find a way forward. According to Deutsche Welle, Professor Jerome Allen Cohen from New York University School of Law, who has observed China's legal situation since 2003, believes that China has reached a standstill on its path toward rule of law. Although legal texts might be accurate, their implementation has deviated. The political sector lacks a genuine desire to establish judicial independence. China's epidemic heats up and death toll increases. New variants emerge endlessly. The COVID-19 situation in China is worsening, with a significant increase in deaths, and new variants continue to emerge, causing concerns. Dr. Li Yadong, a pediatric specialist at the second affiliated hospital of Tianjin University of Traditional Chinese Medicine, in just the month of July, there were 455 patients hospitalized nationwide due to severe cases of COVID-19, with 65 deaths, all attributed to underlying health conditions. The spread of the coronavirus in China persists, and Xianyang patients referring to those who have been infected with COVID-19 3 times continue to emerge. The officially reported death toll is already substantial, but the actual situation might be more severe. Experts mentioned that the contagiousness of the new coronavirus remains strong, with most people experiencing 1 to 3 infections per year. This news has raised concerns among the public. Song Boyang, deputy chief physician of the breast surgery department at Jiangsu Province Hospital of Traditional Chinese Medicine, expressed that since the virus keeps mutating, there might be Siang and Wuyang of 4th and 5th infection. Certain groups, like healthcare workers, might have a higher probability of experiencing multiple infections due to the ongoing mutations of the virus. At the same time, new variants of the coronavirus are emerging. On August 17th, the Infectious Disease Research and Policy Center in the United States reported that the World Health Organization's HOK-GOFI Envy Evolution Advisory Group announced the detection of a new variant called Bondor 2.86 on August 17th. This variant carries numerous mutations and has been categorized as a variant under monitoring. Meanwhile, many parts of China have been hit by heavy rain and flooding recently, leading to severe water-related disasters. Post-disaster epidemic prevention has become a pressing issue. Dr. Zhou Bin, deputy chief physician of the Hepatobiliary Pancreatic Surgery Department at Qingdao University Affiliated Hospital, advised timely management of excrement or vomit, suggesting avoiding direct contact with dirty water and not staying in pools or ditches. If sanitation in water is necessary, wearing tall rain boots and protective gloves is important. This information indicates that the COVID-19 situation in China remains a concern, especially considering the emergence of new variants and the impact of natural disasters. Appropriate precautions and measures are needed to safeguard public health. CCP rushes to dump US dollars, struggles to stem depreciation of Chinese yuan. Reuters reported on Thursday, August 17, that informed that several major state-owned banks of the Chinese Communist Party CCP have been busy selling US dollars and buying Chinese yuan in the onshore and offshore spot foreign exchange markets this week, aiming to prevent the rapid depreciation of the yuan. A trader in Shanghai stated the sale of US dollars by state-owned banks has become a new norm to slow down the depreciation of the yuan. Currently, some hedge funds are betting on the yuan's depreciation and are warning that China's foreign exchange reserves may be lower than expected by outsiders. Since the beginning of this month, the yuan's exchange rate against the US dollar has fallen by about 2.4%, and it has fallen by 6% since the beginning of the year. On Thursday, August 17, during the Asian session, the latest exchange rate for onshore yuan against the US dollar was $7.3 thousand, nude against the US dollar was $7.3 thousand, was 7.356. The recent intensification of the yuan's depreciation is due to the widening gap in interest rates between China and the United States, as well as increasing concerns among investors about China's weak economic growth and rising risks in the real estate and shadow banking sectors. Additionally, slow progress in Beijing's growth boosting measures has disappointed investors. Meanwhile, the People's Bank of China, the central bank of the CCP, has relaxed its monetary policy to support the economy, which will further pressure the yuan's exchange rate. Hedge funds betting on further yuan depreciation on Thursday. Another Reuters report stated that Swiss-based hedge fund EDL Capital is betting that China's offshore yuan will further depreciate and stated that the yuan's slide could be the next black swan event disrupting global markets. EDL Capital manages assets of about $1 billion. In an investor report issued this month, they mentioned that factors contributing to the yuan's softness include geopolitical tensions prompting Western countries to reset supply chains, leading to a lack of foreign investment in China. The report noted that China's labor market competitiveness has also decreased compared to other Asian countries like Vietnam and India, and the slow economic recovery after the COVID-19 pandemic could result in foreign exchange reserves being lower than what the outside world thinks. The Chinese real estate market remains mired in a years-long slump, severely denting confidence in China's economy. Exports have contracted, and consumer prices have slipped into deflationary territory. July's growth rates in retail sales, industrial value added, and fixed asset investment were all lower than those in June. The report noted that the current situation has put the Chinese government in a dilemma. The People's Bank of China has formally pledged to use monetary policy to maintain the stability of the yuan's exchange rate, thereby promoting economic growth. However, it seems that the central bank's primary policy tool, namely interest rates, can only support one of these objectives. Qintai Chu-Weng, chief Asia-FAS strategist at Mizuho Bank, commented the situation is becoming increasingly tricky. He noted that the yuan softening limits the central bank's ability to further cut interest rates to support the economy. And that is today's episode. If you found this video informative, please subscribe and ring a bell to get notification. Thank you for watching and see you next time.